were basically doing not talking strike until they would say that they would pay for her to go to the hospital.
Really?
Everybody go. Everybody go. Everybody go. Everybody go. Everybody go. Everybody go. Everybody go.
What is going on, everybody? This is Oliver Twixt here, your nerd boy cutie, reporting for duty, here to do the Lord's work once again. And I am happy to announce I am finally on Cameo. Listen, y'all aggravated those people. They sent me the invite, and I have happily accepted. So you bitches can now book the nerd for some birthday shout-outs, words of encouragement, anniversary, Christmas, Halloween, Hanukkah, Easter, Chinese New Year, all the things. I cannot wait to greet you guys. What is going on, y'all? Our video is about to begin in a couple of seconds. Before it does, jump over to the live chat that's happening right now, where you can talk to me and some of our other friends all around the world about the things we love to talk about. I want to see you in there. Hurry up right now. Hi!
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm great. And thank you for taking the time. Like, I know you contacted me months ago, but thank you for waiting for the wedding to be done and everything to join and finally talk to you.
Oh my God, listen, no, you guys are grown women with lives and stuff to do. So I totally understand. And especially we're talking about the game of love and you getting married. Of course, take all the time you need. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
Oh my God. Can you talk to us about the wedding right fast? Like, how was it? Where were you? What did it look like? I saw some of the pictures. You look beautiful in your dress.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So when everything kind of went crazy with COVID, we decided to pivot. Hold on. We decided to pivot. And I reached out to one of my design clients my freelance design clients that I've had for 7 years, Haymarket Brewery. And they have a tap room in Michigan. And I was like, hey guys, want to do a wedding?
Right.
And they're like, yes. So plans had to change again, but it was so perfect. And we got to celebrate it, not only with my family, but with the Haymarket family too. It was awesome.
Congratulations. Congratulations. It's so exciting.
It was awesome.
Exciting. I can't wait till I get married one day. Because I only plan on doing it one time.
Only do it once, trust me.
And it has to be an epic. I want it to be my wedding is going to be very expensive because it just needs to be very epic. Like, I want it to be like almost like Coachella, you know? Like, I want it to be like a week long of events and experiences.
Oh my God, yes. With all the light shows and like Imagine Dragons playing.
Oh, Sarah, you think it's a game. I'm dead ass serious right now. Like, I'm very serious. I want an R&B concert. I want a gospel brunch. I want a drag show.
It's your wedding. You can do anything you want.
Yes. I want like a networking event one day with everybody who comes in. Like, this needs to be a movie.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes, and you should do it. Do anything you want. That's the fun part of it.
And then I woke up, and then out of my sleep, you know. Then I wake up. But anyways, enough about me. Today, it's all about you, Sarah. We're so happy to have you here in our virtual classroom to talk about America's Next Top Model, Cycle 8. How does it feel to be a part of something that people are still talking about over 10 years later?
Oh my God, I think it's more than that. It was 2008 or 2008 it aired. So 12 years later.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy. It was amazing. I was talking to my now husband today and just like thinking back to it and realizing that you were a part of something that was bigger than you could even imagine was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And like how much it meant to the fans and all the people that viewed it. And I was an avid watcher before I even thought I would even be on the show. So it's kind of that one little glimpse into sort of what modeling is and everything. So it was incredible. And it's given me so many other opportunities throughout my life as well, which I'm very, very, very grateful of.
Yes, gratitude is the best attitude. Everyone is very excited to see you because I don't know if you heard me earlier before you came on, but we've only talked to 2 girls from Cycle 8. The very first chat I've ever done, the very first chat that launched 100 was with Dionne, excuse me. And then like some months later, I was able to get Brittany on a chat. And then you're number 3. So like we're very excited about this. Extremely excited.
Oh my God. And Dionne is killing it on Instagram. She's killing it everywhere. She's just killing it. And Brittany is still one of my best friends. Like I love her so much. We text all the time. Like we've kept in contact. I've met her little adorable girl. Like it's I call Top Model this, like, it's almost like a weird sorority where you're like, we went through that together. We're now friends. Like, lifelong friends. So
did you get a chance to watch the chat with Brittany?
I watched a little bit of it. Yeah. She killed it. And, she's doing amazing things too with all of her books. I was able to help a little bit on the Beyond Pretty book. She is just killing it and doing an amazing job.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you said it. Listen, guys, I don't want to spill all of it, but since the chat with Brittany, her and I have spoken, and let's just say I can't wait until something gets printed and it's available for everyone to flip through. I'm like so excited, like so excited. And like she still DMs me and asks me like questions like, what do you think about this? What do you think people will say if they see this? Like, yeah, like we have like a nice little like sporadic creative work relationship going on. I love getting DMs from her. Like, shout out to Brittany. And that chat we did was amazing. One of my favorites.
I know. And she's not far from you, I think.
Where is she?
I think Florida, I believe. She's not far. But
oh wow,
you should go and take a visit.
Yeah, I'm actually going to Florida this weekend.
Oh my God. I want to go visit her so badly. I'm like, maybe beginning of next year. She comes up to Chicago a lot too.
You live in Chicago?
Yeah. Well, northwest suburbs of Chicago. Yes, we bought a house. Me and my now husband bought a house right before all the COVID things and everything else, and it's been a blessing. I was like, can we buy a bunch of power tools and build things? And he's like, yes, but I do the saw. And then we built an entire garden and back. It's been a blessing through everything.
Oh, amazing. That is amazing. And you look so beautiful. All of y'all are aging in reverse.
Oh, like this is the longest my hair has been in 17 years.
It looks good.
Thanks. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot more maintenance, but I love it.
No, it looks really good. You look a real good, girl.
Thank you.
Well, I know the people who are watching are like, when are they going to start talking about Top Model? It's going to start right now. So I want to ask you, what made you, Sarah, audition for America's Next Top Model? You came into it different from other people because you already had a career in modeling as a photographer, as a model, right?
Yeah.
Like you had done some model work. So like, why did you feel the need to come audition for America's Next Top Model?
So I kind of happened into it in the weirdest way. I started modeling for Elite and Chosen when I was 17, and did tons and tons of stuff. And I kind of got into photography through that and started photographing all the runway girls and other people and all that stuff. And I actually, ironically, the guy I worked with at Ford Models in Chicago is now my agent at Stewart Talent, which is awesome. But so I started shooting for the men's board there. So I was on my young game hustle of like networking. So I heard that there was a Top Model after party that they were still, they were, having right, like, I think it was right down the street from me. So I was like, well, why don't we just go? And like, I'll hand out cards, see what happens. And one of the casting directors came up to me. He's like, oh, are you here to audition? And I'm like, no. And I was like, well, I'm already signed, with Elite and all this other stuff. And he goes, no, that's okay. So I was like, what's the worst that could happen? So I filled out the paperwork, and me and a friend I was with both got asked to go to Minnesota for their basically their second casting call. But this was for Cycle 7. So I saw Carrie, I think it was Carrie D.
Oh, really?
I was in that kind of that same audition thing with her, and I was like, and then I saw her on the show. I was like, I know her.
And she won.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so I didn't get on that season, kind of forgot about it, whatever. And I think I was literally, I was getting ready. I was doing some hair fashion show, And I get a call from an LA number, and I'm like, hello? And they're like, hi, you know, we saw you last season. Would you like to come back? So, and audition again. And I'm like, why not? It's kind of my mantra in life is why not? And so I did. And then I ended up getting on the season, which was crazy. I didn't know what to expect. Even my mom was like, okay, it's happening. And yeah.
So even with you having that journey, getting on the show, you finally getting there, what were you telling yourself that you wanted to get out of the experience? Were you looking to win? Were you looking to expand your portfolio? Were you looking to make connections? Did you want to start a career in media? What were you looking to get from it?
I think I thought about it as going in as a professional, right? I love photography, which I still get to do today, and I'm so happy about that. And I was like, well, I'm like, if it doesn't happen that I don't win, at least I can, you know, maybe elevate photography or do something else, or just have an experience that I've never had before. And, you know, a show that I've idolized when I was younger, you know, trying to get into the industry, and then to be part of that just felt, it was just amazing. I was also 20 years old, you know, I was like, yes, I'll do, yeah, that sounds great. And I even, and I know I wasn't supposed to, I talked to my agents before I went on, and I was like, what do you think? Do you think I should do it? Like, and they're like, yes, do it. He's like, you know, I wasn't supposed to tell him because of contract things, but and they were like, do it. And then I was in LA doing interviews the day I got kicked. My final episode aired, and my agent called me right away, and he's like, I can't wait to have you back. And it was just, they're family too. It's amazing.
Yes. So what was it like for you getting there, seeing everybody, the producers, the cameras, the girls, going through the process of being like mic'd up and briefed on what you're going to be doing that day filming? How were you anxious? Were you like excited? Was it intimidating? What do you remember?
I remember it being, one of the regrets I have is I came in there with a very large ego, and I will say that now, looking at it 12 years ago, and I came in there, but that's also, you sort of have to, because you have to be confident in yourself. But I think I was like a little bit of a larger ego than maybe I should have. But it was overwhelming. You're with a lot of girls who are very loud, and I think Brittany had talked about this. Is like they pick certain personalities, right, for a reason. It's like people that kind of that will outshine the rest of the group, and it was exciting. It was overwhelming. There was lots of personalities, but it was an incredible experience.
What do you remember about the test they gave you guys before you began really getting into filming, like the personality test, the psychology test? Did you guys do any like medical tests too? Some girls have told us like they took their blood and stuff like that.
That would be a drug test, but no, well, I don't think blood, but anywho, they didn't do that. We had to do personality tests. We had to talk to a psychologist, and all of that stuff. But they're just kind of making sure that, I call it having a strong core, making sure that you're strong enough to go through it. Because as you've seen with our season, I personally wish that they would provide that afterwards as well, because I know, like, you've seen from our season, and Brittany and I have talked about it a lot, but of just how when you come out of Top Model, and then all of this sort of, not fame, but stardom comes on you, and you're at such a young age, and like how different people process that is one of the things that I hope has changed since that. But it's a lot to deal with. But yes, they do tests, they do all that, but I don't know the extent of how much they go into it. They're casting personalities at the end of the day.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
No, you're good. I have
reality
water right
TV
here.
shows, reality competition shows nowadays are doing a whole lot more work in terms of before, during, and aftercare for their talent when it comes to the emotional part of it and the mental part of it. They are doing a whole lot better. I can say that firsthand. From friends who've taped me, just knowing certain things, they're doing a way better job than what I've heard you girls say. Like, they're calling you, they're setting up meetings, they're like checking in. The doctor's still calling you. The show therapist is still calling you. There's better systems in place now for people to keep them healthy after filming a show as hard like a top model.
Well, yeah, and like for me, I think I kind of was like, I'm good. I'm gonna wear my Chuck Taylors and just be like, you saw me wearing plaid, my blue plaid jacket I loved. I was very much myself through the whole show. And I was like, I'm good. I don't need to go to clubs or do any of that stuff. I'm hanging around with just the people that look at me as me. But then you go out and people are like, huh. And like, you couldn't go anywhere. And now every once in a while, someone will recognize me and I'm like, can I give you a hug? Thank you. I was like, that's very nice. It was 12 years ago. I was like, oh my God.
Yes, to us, I tell you girls all the time, well, I've told the girls all the time, like to us, you guys are still like celebrities and people because we've watched Top Model. I don't watch it. I haven't watched a single episode since I've started doing this because talking to you guys to me is like watching it again. But I would watch Top Model like every other day. I'll just put it on, just let it play in the background. So like you girls are like a part of our childhoods and a part of like creative things that we would dream about doing one day. So yeah, you girls are still important out here in the streets.
Oh, that's so kind. It was an incredible experience to be part of something like that, especially sort of in its infancy in the early days of it, which still blows my mind. What are they up to? Like 20 something?
They stopped at 24 a couple years ago.
Oh, God.
Stopped at 24.
I
would say cycles 1 through 6 are probably like the genesis of Top Model.
Yeah, I
would say cycles probably 7 through
12.
12.
I was like,
12 is like them trying to like make it a little bit better, trying to make it a little bit grander and, grandiose and more exaggerated. I would say maybe 13 to 16 is probably when they try to like reel it back just a little bit, with the exception of 13. I may actually say 7 to 13 because 14 through 16 were more serious. Like they were way more serious. And then 17 onward, I don't know. Girl,
I think I watched one season after mine. And that was just the kind of, it's like the decompression of it. And then, and I think that was it at that point. Yeah. But that's okay. I'm like, I rewatched my season today and I was laughing so hard. I was like, and then there's certain parts I was like, oh no.
Oh, that is so good because the next part of this game, we're going to jump right into it, is Antm roll call, where I name everyone who's cast on your cycle, all the girls, all the judges, all the on-screen talent, and you're going to tell me the first thing that comes to your brain, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. The first name is Kathleen. She was the first girl out.
I love Kathleen. I loved her spirit. I loved everything about her. She like, I was sad to see her go right away because I was like, we'll be friends. I'm like, you seem so fun and so energetic. I loved her. And I was like, don't go so soon.
Have you seen her Instagram now?
Oh, no, I haven't. Is it amazing?
She's like a whole social media influencer right now. Like I think she sells hair and she's always traveling somewhere like fabulous.
I loved her. You knew when Kathleen came into a room every time. And I loved every bit of it. She was amazing.
Yes. How was that first photo shoot for you guys? It was the one where everyone was given a political stance. Was it political stance?
Yeah, it was basically they polarized us between political
stance. So two girls were given a political stance and then both of them got either side of it. How was that first photo shoot with you? That was a photo I used. Yeah,
I know. And gosh, that probably wouldn't happen today. Thinking back to it, I'm like, oh my God. But like, it was interesting. Like, that was still such a blur because it was, you're getting into it and stuff. But, you just kind of went with your instincts at that point. Like, it was interesting. I had to be life in prison and I'm like, okay, just make this fashion. Like, how am I supposed to, like, it was just so random.
But make it fashion.
Yes. I'm like, so, yeah. Like,
how was it working with Nigel Barker? Do you remember?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was great. He gave good direction. I was also very, I think, jealous of his camera at the time. because I'm still very much a camera nerd and super photography nerd. And I was like, what camera is that? Is that the Hassi? But but it was great. You know, you've looked up to him, you know, watching the show and everything else, and you're like, okay, now I get to be photographed. But you were still in this, like, not really, like, I call it this sort of faux reality of like everything you're going through. It hasn't really become sort of like a real thing. You're kind of being shuffled here and there and all of that, you're still kind of like, is this real right now? Like I'm actually doing this.
Yeah. No, I can only imagine. Listen, if I ever become a reality TV show contestant to compete in something, I'm pretty sure I would be like, what is going on? Like, this is so real. Because you watch these things at home and it seems so like grandiose and like badass and official, and to like you had the opportunity to actually be there doing it, being the person that's like, whoa, this is real.
Is this how this all goes? Okay, we cheer when we're supposed to cheer, and then we get excited, and then, oh my God, I made the funniest faces. They would always cut to me because I would make the most goofiest faces ever. And I'm like, oh my God.
Was it of you just gagging on what was like happening before you? Like,
I would do like that, and I'm like, oh God.
But I do remember you being a very happy person on the show. Like, you always had like a spark and a step about you. You never seemed angry or like a Debbie Downer or anything. So that's always good to be remembered that way.
Well, yeah, you know, be kind and be kind to others. I think that that's important in life, and that's, you know, in the back of my head too, I was like, my grandmother's gonna watch the show, so I'm like, but I honestly, I try to be one of the most empathetic people as much as I can. So it's like, you know, when you see somebody hurting or you see anything, it's, you know, you be there for them. You don't stab someone behind the back ever, because you wouldn't want that done to you either. So
yes. Next on the list is Samantha Francis.
Oh my God, I thought she had the most potential modeling than she. I don't want to say than anyone, but she had one of the most. She was beautiful, and she photographed beautiful. Like, it was so sad to see her leave, but she was also quieter on the show. Like, you know, she's not making big TV and all that stuff, and like in the middle of fights and all that. Like, I think it was me and Samantha that we took two beds together, and I was like, "You're a normal person. Hi." Like, yeah, she was amazing.
I was just going to ask you, do you think she got cut because she wasn't really involving herself in the drama and the story of the show?
I think, you know, larger personalities may probably be stayed later, because it does make for better reality television. But I don't think that she should have gone that quickly. I think, I don't know for sure, but I think she did model like for a while afterwards. She's absolutely beautiful. She photographs beautifully.
How was the school photo shoot for you?
Oh my God, I made the photographer blush.
Yeah,
I was the class flirt. That was the school photo shoot, right? And they gave me falsies, which was so weird. Falsies. Like, God, I don't want to go into it, but they gave me falsies for my boobs. And like
pasties?
Yeah, like pasties things. And I was like, this is weird. I was like, okay, we'll go with it. And I just went for it. And I do love the photo that turned out. It was like, I was a little like, part of me was like, why is this thing around my stomach? Because they gave me like this thing, but it was a fun shoot. It was awesome.
Yes. The next person on the list is Cassandra.
I loved Cassandra. She was like that even keel, nice person, just like very much like in her zen, and just like, and her hair was beautiful. I loved her. And it was actually sad. I'm sorry, I keep on having to push notifications away. It was sad to see her go on that shoot. And I think I mentioned this in your comments. When we did that ice cream photo shoot, for the first two people, they used real ice cream. And ice cream has to be frozen. So she kept it in her hand the whole time. She had basically second degree cold burns on her hand, and they wouldn't take her to the hospital. Then we all sat in a room and we're like, we're not going to talk for like, we're basically doing not talking strike until they would say that they would pay for her to go to the hospital.
Really?
And then they did, and like her whole hand was peeling. And then I was the second one to go, and still to this day I have marks on my hand from how cold that ice cream was. But thank God I switched hands. But I was like, oh, I also play guitar, so there's like bumps on here and all that. And it was bad for a long time where you had blisters, but that was one of those. And you know what, who did it? Jael stood up for Cassandra, and she goes, this isn't right. And
the anarchist, yes.
And she goes, this isn't right. She's like, we're all not going to say anything until they do something, which they should, because like that was crazy. And then they finally switched to, let's not actually use cold ice cream. Never on a shoot I would ever do that, but you know, things move quickly. Who knows what happened on that? But
right.
that was I think the craziest moment that I experienced, where I was like, holy. But yeah.
Shout out to Cassandra, everybody, for being a pioneer. Cassandra walked into her audition with Tyra and said that she had sewn a wig on her head. And Tyra, Miss J, and Mr. J laughed at her. Fast forward 10 years later, people are making their entire empire and wealth and living off of what? Sewn on wigs to their heads.
I love it.
Somebody find Cassandra, because we need to give her a standing ovation for being a pioneer and one of the first people on TV to wear what is now called a lace front wig.
That's amazing.
Something that Tyra's ass started doing a couple seasons after that. Now, you tried to read Cassandra, but then you started doing yourself. Hey, Tyra, if you watching, that's probably why your wigs is messed up. See, this is why you don't be mean to people. You know I love you, girl. You know, but I still got to tell you up in the moments where I got to tell you up, Tyra. Next on the list is Felicia.
Oh, my God. So
a shocking elimination.
I know. And there's a lot about that episode. But I was so sad to see her go, so much. And Felicia actually flew up here. She met my whole family. She did a fashion show with me for one of my best friends, Boris Powell. If you haven't checked him out, please check him out. He's amazing. And we got to see each other again after the show. She's fantastic. I would give her 20 out of 10. I love her.
When was the last time you saw her? She's like disappeared off social media.
Yeah, it's been a long time. You know, it's been 12 years. So the only person I really keep in contact now is Brittany. But like right after the show, it was so great to see her. She's fierce. She's amazing.
Why do you think she went home so early after 3 weeks of amazing photos? Her first time in the bottom. She was a strong competitor. She had a great personality. Why do you think they sent her home so early?
I have no idea. Like I said, there were a lot of personalities in the house, and maybe, you know, like maybe that storyline that they wanted didn't happen with her, or I have no clue, because she took amazing photos.
Amazing photo. That photo of her jumping with her hair, like her hair doing like this like thing, and she's like she's taking a breath. Her wedding photo is gorgeous. Her jumping photo is gorgeous. Her ice cream photo is stunning. I'm just like, y'all, she should have not gone home.
Well,
not at all.
And it's the beginning too. So you're kind of like, you know, you don't know which way it's going to go in the beginning of these seasons, if who's going to get kicked off or whatnot. So it's that was a sad one, because I could have seen her going super far within the competition.
How was that photo shoot for you? It was the murder scene photo shoot.
Interesting. They really liked to, they still played up the photographer thing and me getting in my head over and over and over again. I was like, oh, that's my storyline. But it was interesting. So we were at this place called the Alexandria Hotel, right? In downtown LA. Crazy haunted, crazy, like very like dirt. Like it was the Alexandria Hotel. Literally, we were leaving the shoot, and it was me and I think a PA and two DPs, the director, like photo guys, and the elevator went down to 2, which was the ballroom. Then it went back up to 6. Then it went back down to 2 again, and like back up to 6. And I'm like, what is going on right now? And then finally it let us go down to 1. And I was like, what is going on? It was the creepiest, like kind of like spiritual place I've been to. But regarding that photo shoot, I think from a tech standpoint, after what Jael went through, and you think about emotional trauma and everything else, there's no way they should have done that shoot right after, like knowing like what she went through and everything else. That, you know, the photos are probably some of my favorite from the season, because I think the photographer he did an incredible job, but I just think that maybe it wasn't the right time to do that.
I agree. And I'm pretty sure the producers probably thought, oh, this is good TV. Her friend just died, and now she has to do a death photo shoot. Let's see if she can fight through it. Tune in to America's Next Top Model next week when you see who goes home. Tyra.
No, and that's also playing with like the emotional strength of people, and that, you know, that was kind of one of those things that when I realized, I was like, oh wow, we're doing this. Like,
oh yeah, full throttle.
I was like, literally full throttle. And I felt bad for her, because she was one of my good friends throughout the show too. Like, you know, I 100% connected with her and just empathized with her about losing friends, and to see her have the strength to go through that, because Jael was one of the strongest people with one of the most amazing energies I've ever met in my life. Like, she was this free butterfly every time. Like,
before we go on to the next girl, I love that photo shoot too. And shout out to the photographer, because they use lights and shadows to me in those photos perfectly. Like the way they were able to use how the lights were coming in and the natural shadows that were being created, like on you guys' faces and in the scene. I'm a lights and shadows person, which is why while you guys are talking, excuse me, I usually tilt to the side because my cheekbone looks real nice. But shout out to that photo shoot. Yes, I love that creative and those photos. Felicia shouldn't have gone home, because her photo, I mean, it wasn't the strongest, but it wasn't bad either.
Well, exactly. And it's called painting with light. And it's one of my favorite things to do. Painting with light. Because that's what a photo is.
Yes.
I will give, like, anyone that's watching a little hint into that, like, behind the scenes is, we did our normal panel, and then they realized this is really, it got really dark with all of our stuff. So they made us go back and pretend that one of the girls were going to kill us, so that it maybe was a little bit lighter. And I was like, okay, you asked us to be dead. And so we went a little bit morose on it, but like.
Yo, Sarah, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you after roll call. Someone asked a question. Did they make you guys come up with those stories, or like, such and such stabbed me in the chest, such and such choked me, such and such did that? So you're saying they made you guys redo panel, and you guys had to come up with, did you guys come up with the stories, or did they tell you those stories?
Gosh, I forget now, but I think we had to come up with them on the fly, because we had to redo panel at that point and redo the whole like panel thing, because they were like, ooh, it's got a little dark, which it is, because it's talking about death, but and I'm like, and you guys did that probably for the reaction with Jael, but yeah, it went to a dark place. And so they redid it. And if you I watched it today, if you rewatch it, you can hear Jay's voiceovers that they added in.
Oh, wow. Wowzers. Thank you for that. That is mind-blowing. No one has ever told us that before.
It was random. Jeez. I was like, okay, this is happening. I'm like, all right. Remember being young, and within all this, you're like, okay, we're going to redo it.
Yeah, let's just do it. Oof. Last story, girl. One time I was leaving a client's home from filming a behind the scenes video for them that I was going to use to like make a commercial out of. I got stuck in an elevator for like 10 seconds. I was going down from like floor 7 maybe to like floor 1. I got to floor 2 and the elevator politely stopped. The lights went out and everything turned. The lights went out and the emergency lights came on. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone who is watching me probably knows me, says, Oliver, you probably went crazy. And I will tell you, no. I actually got very quiet. And I told God, thank you so much for allowing me to live here. I've had a great time. Please forgive me for all my sins. If this is the end, I shall see you very soon. But then the lights came on like 10 seconds later, and then it just went to the bottom. I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
I was like, you're on floor 2.
chance.
Oh my God, yeah. We confined spaces. You were fine though.
Oh no, on the inside I was melting. Oh, on the inside I had already perished. But on the outside I said, I'm not going to scream. What's the point of screaming? If these are my last 10 seconds on earth, I might as well go out and quiet, I guess. Next on the list is Diana.
I love Diana. She's my Jersey girl. I married a Jersey boy. So there you go.
Nice.
We met out in New York. But I love Diana. And actually, so when you get kicked off the show, you don't go home. You go to Sequesterville and all that stuff is what they call it, which is weird. But I got put with Diana, and me and her got even more closer when we were together and we were just shooting the shit. I was like, I was 20 at the time, but I was like, let's get beers from the room service, and they were like, yeah. And so we just cheers and then just got closer. And you know,
nice.
The thing I will say about Top Model is they, after kind of the first couple seasons, they started including plus size models, and I dislike that that term, because they should just be models. Models should be every shape, every size, every ethnicity, they should be everything. And thankfully, we're getting to that point within the industry that's the norm. But it, you know, at least earlier on, especially, you know, 12 years ago, we did have people of different shapes and different sizes and different ethnicities within it. And I give Diana props. She was strong through the whole show. I wish I would have seen her go farther, but love her. Long story long, love her.
Being there, do you think they treated her and Whitney right, being the quote unquote plus size models of the cast?
Well, there was one thing, and I forget what it was. I think it was one of the 17 things, is they only had sample sizes. They didn't have sizes that fit them. But why would you do that? Why would you not understand that we have 2 plus size models when we need to provide clothing for, you know, not just the sample sizes? So that was the only thing that I literally watched today that I saw, was like, why would you do that unless you're pointing out that they're different, which they're not. They're the same as everybody.
Yeah. How was the photo shoot where you guys were men and you guys got paired with the drag queen?
Oh my God, I love them. I love seeing the transformation of everybody. I think that was the coolest part. Oh my God, Natasha was hilarious. But like, she owned it that day. Literally gum wrappers. I'm like, what is going on?
She's living her fantasy.
She killed it that shoot. But yeah, it was amazing, and it was amazing. I like the setup of it all, and just like, you know, it was just fun. It was probably one of the most fun shoots where all of us were laughing the whole time.
Yeah, that's good. Listen, I love this episode because, one, I love things that are very like gender bender, you know. I feel like that's my whole thing in life. You know, I just like things just fluid. Just do whatever you want to do. If you want to wear a dress, you want to grow a mustache, whatever you want to do, just do it. And then the second thing is Raven, who later appeared on Drag Race 2 times, season 2, All Stars 1. She has a show coming out with World of Wonder about like a makeup competition. She's RuPaul's personal makeup artist, was on this episode with you guys, in the photos with you guys.
Oh, that's awesome. That's unbelievable. Like, they were all so fun to work with. They were killer. I was like, half of them stole the show. I was like, dude, but they were so fun.
The next person on the list is Whitney, one of the prettiest girls who's ever been on Top Model. Face, gorgeous face, and
so intelligent too. She was so smart, and I think she was at Dartmouth, or a very huge school and dropped
Dartmouth
out.
sounds about right.
Yeah, it was one of the sort of Ivy Leagues, and dropped out to do Top Model. And like I honestly, you're not gonna hear me say bad about most people, but she, like, I wouldn't say anything about her, but she was amazing.
How was the? Oh wait, no, I skipped somebody. No, I didn't. I know what I did. Let me go back to go forward. How was the multiple personality photo shoot for you?
No. It was interesting. Like you got like very short periods of time to decide, like, I have 4 personalities, and I'm like, I'm just Sarah. I'm nice and kind. What? And so it was one of those, like, you kind of go back in your mind and you're like, but I have no regrets of anything I did in the show. So
good.
There we go. But yeah, it was kind of what it was. It's like, it was, personally, from an artistic standpoint, I think it was kind of boring in that aspect. It was, it's like, okay, give personality, and then, but you kind of do, and then it's wrong, and then you're like, but that's my personality. I'm kind of animated to begin with, so yeah.
I know you guys are enjoying this video, but we need to take a little break to get a word from our sponsors.
Hey there, little black boy. Are you trying to figure out how to get your bag without being one of the hustlers and movers on TV, but you don't know how? Come learn business from me, a degreed CEO. Follow me at What You Know Quan, and follow my podcast at Straight Facts TV, where you can learn how to get your money right and how to do business. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, I, in the media that I participate in, I always get the edit. Is he for real? Like, is this really him? Is this really him? Is he, like, always smiling? Is he always this charismatic? Yes, bitch, I am!
And I love it.
That's how the Lord made me. Just because it makes you uncomfortable or you don't understand it doesn't make it inauthentic. And I feel like that was the same thing with you. Like, they were like, it comes off cheesy. No, that's just how the lady is.
I still make all the goofy faces.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, and it's like asking the 4 personalities. Like, I would have done it, from an artistic standpoint, I would have done it much more stripped down. Like, when you look at Tyra's photos of all of her personalities, it was extremely stripped down, and it was just about the emotion of people rather than this show of all things. Like, if you would have done something similar, but that's retrospectively speaking. But
now, hey, guys, we have our very own photographer extraordinaire on the line with us today. I should have been asking you to critique these. I'm gonna get into that later. That'll be fun because I'm so curious to hear what you have to say. Let me not get sidetracked with excitement, and let's keep on going.
Okay.
Let me ask you this: did you guys participate in photo shoots after you were eliminated, or you were just in Sequesterville? Gotcha.
Sequesterville, and thankfully, by the time I got to Sequesterville, there was enough of us, and I was only in it for, I think, like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And then when they went to Australia, we got to go home. So
you didn't go to Australia?
No, we didn't. I didn't, at least. I'm okay with it. I was ready to go home at that point.
I know that's right.
I was like,
the next person on the list is Jael, the icon.
Jael, and it was hard watching it today because you just see how much spirit and just love and everything that she just embodied. She brought so much to the show and so much to just the dynamic. It was usually like me, Jael, and Brittany together, usually smoking cigarettes out there, which they even told us, please stop. Like, can you at least hold them down? And because most of us, I don't smoke anymore, but yeah, and she was just a rock within the house in so many ways, and we were there for her, and it was a very tragic thing, and I'm so glad that, like, Brittany's talked to me about her project and honoring Jael's soul and her spirit and everything else. It's like, oh yeah, she was an incredible person.
A couple things about Jael, guys. One, Jael was a reader. Jael, one of my favorite top model banters is when she was getting Renee together.
Oh, wait.
And she said, you're a hot mess and everyone knows it.
And you know, she said the words that everyone thought but didn't say, unfortunately, at that point. But yeah, it's.
I can't remember, Sarah, the exact words she was saying when she was in the kitchen, but it was just how fast she was able to spew off those things. Like... oh my gosh. The second thing is, I remember when she did her episode with Dr. Phil and just watching her. But the third thing, and just, you know, what that made me feel, remembering her from cycle 8 being like so full of life and just being like this big energy ball, and then seeing where she had gone. But the last thing, which I think is the most beautiful thing, is seeing where she was able to take her life and heal and clean up herself and get on a great path. And even when we spoke to Brittany, I can't remember everything Brittany said, but I think Brittany said she was very close with Jael before she transitioned. And just hearing the things that Brittany was able to share with us about her just makes me feel like really great and so appreciative of the icon that lived, Jael. It's so dope hearing stories like you saying she stood up for Cassandra, saying, no, you're going to take her to the hospital. Like, that's so amazing.
That was Jael. That was Jael in a nutshell. She didn't want other people, especially the people that she cared about, being wronged either. And she would stand up for them every single time. And, you know, it's one of those things of like, especially, you know, like I said about the show, is you kind of, you know, everyone internalizes all these changes that are just kind of happened in your life differently. And, you know, some people kind of go off the path, but Jael got back on the path and, you know, with everything. And she then helped people. She was working with, you know, substance abuse and everything else. And it was just extremely tragic. But she is one of those bright stars in the sky that look down on you. And she's like, you're doing it, girl. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
If there's anything you could point out about Jael's life that could be like a life lesson or inspirational to anyone who knew her in any capacity, whether they knew her personally or saw her on TV, what is it that you would say?
Be yourself all the time. She taught me that. Just be yourself all the time. No matter if it's eccentric and different and weird, like, just be yourself. And that's what Jael wore on her chest every day, is she just was herself. She didn't care. She's like, oh, I'm a weirdo, but that's okay. And that's I think that's one of the lessons I learned from her, is just, who cares? Who cares about what anyone else thinks? Just be yourself all the time.
Yes. Rest in peace to the icon, Jael Strauss. Next on the list is Brittany Hatch.
I love my Brittany. Oh, she's amazing. And she's an incredible mother, an incredible person. Like, it's Brittany. I literally text her all the time.
That's dope. That's dope.
She's like my sister, basically. So
how was it watching it back, seeing that meltdown she had outside of that Go See building when they went over to Australia? Definitely like top 10 Antm moments of all time.
Yeah, you know, when you're not set up for success and there's certain variables that you can't really get around. Like, you know, and Brittany had an incredible, or Corinne, as I call her now, she had an incredible modeling career after Top Model. And, you know, you think that one little thing of like, of course you're upset, you know, that was a crazy experience. And I think even Brittany said is sleep deprived, all of that stuff. But yeah, you know, no one wants to get to that point where you're like, I didn't make it. Or I forget the whole entire scenario, but yeah, it sucks.
It's dope to know that you guys still have a friendship.
Oh my gosh. And I love her daughter. She's adorable. Oh my God. I can't wait till she visits again, or I go down there.
Yes. Next on the list is Dionne Hula Hey Brown.
Dionne's Instagram game is killer.
Dionne is fine as shit.
Oh my gosh.
That is a fine woman.
Oh, and I'm just so happy for her. She's doing great things and everything else. And she, you know, I was so excited to see the progression within the show of like her, you know, gaining more and more confidence and more, and she just killed it. And I want to say a big shout out to Dionne. I give you credit now, and I apologize. I was like, I saw that in the comments. I'm like, I'm never gonna live this down. and oh my God, I watched it again. I was like, oh, but yes, Dionne killed that and should have won that challenge. I will put it finally to out in the world. She should have won the challenge.
Yo, I really think Dionne is really like a low-key underrated contestant of Top Model. Dionne is funny. The fans are down there like quoting things she said on the show. Dionne is a funny lady.
She's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Dionne is funny. Can I keep this? Can I keep this? Can I keep this? Oh, when she went on her Go scene, she was asking everybody, can she keep the garment she had on? I know that's right, Dionne. You better get your wardrobe up, girl. And don't be adding no brown to it. Don't be no hula hey brown.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Next on the list is Renee.
Renee had a good heart in her heart of hearts. And, you know, I just think Renee was finding herself still within the show. And like, you know, I even experiencing it, you'd see her be nice in certain capacities and then say something right behind people's backs, or try and friend somebody and then throw someone else under the bus. But I think Renee had an emotional journey that she had to go through lots of things. And I know she's reached out to a couple people and is just kind of healing from everything that she went through.
Good.
So
I really think Jael specifically, not Jael, I'm sorry, Renee specifically is a clear example of why aftercare from doing these types of shows are so important. I remember her when like her story broke and she did like that interview and she was saying basically how she was just trapped. You know, she had gone on this show, she had got all this attention, all this popularity, but she didn't get any work with that. Like the work didn't come in that. And so I hear many people say it's hard balancing being this well-known person, but not getting the work behind it and then still having to do what people would consider regular jobs and stuff like that. And I'm glad that she is doing better, right? That was the last thing I think we all heard. Like she's out, she's doing way better. I would love to see her. I've never really kind of pursued a talk with her because I just think maybe that story may be out of my personal wheelhouse to handle. But I would just like to see her just to see, you know, what she looks like, how she's doing, what she's doing. But it is a good thing to hear that she is out and she's doing a good job. Guys, I don't know her Instagram. I don't even know if she has an Instagram. But yeah, shout out to Renee. Shout out to Renee.
Well, and like you said, it's like what becomes your identity. And I think that's the biggest thing with reality TV is like you do this thing and it becomes this, you know, you kind of get thrown into the limelight of things. And it's like, does that become who you are in certain ways, or do you have to keep who you are intrinsically and who you are before all of this? You have to keep that so it doesn't become who you are in every other aspect of your life, I think.
Yes.
And that I'm not a psychologist, but that was just kind of what I went through mentally. It was like, I'm just the same old Chuck Taylor wearing normal person, no matter all of the things that happen.
I think a lot of times people go into reality TV specifically to get to make their dreams come true, because we've seen it all. We've seen so many success stories. We've seen it with Top Model, how countless girls still to this day are still like famous and they're working and they're making their money. We've seen other success stories with like Tiffany, New York Pollard, and Nene Leakes and Snooki and all these people who were just regular people who became like these big superstars. And my biggest advice when people ask me about reality TV is that, listen, think of reality TV as a temporary job for that very moment. And you need to have a strong identity of who you are before that so you can know who you are after that. And don't put all of your hope in dreams and that this thing is going to take you to the next level, because when it doesn't, you don't want to be placed in a position where you're so emotionally broken that you can't pick up the pieces and keep on moving.
Yeah, you know, and you just think of it as a stepping stone. It's what I always thought about it, is it was a stepping stone to other things that I did. And yeah, so I respect Renee. I know I think she reached out to Brittany, and I respect her healing through everything that she's been through. So
Shout out to 140 people watching us right now. Share this live with someone you know who watches Top Model and who feels like being a nosy bitch on a Friday afternoon before the weekend begins. We're going to keep this little Antm roll call going with Natasha.
Natasha's killing it too. Her Instagram is amazing. And I think some of the girls gave her a lot of flack on the show for effort. Like, we are allowed to love who we love and all of that stuff. And I think it was a little judgmental, but she was, it's Natasha. She's like, what's going on? Or her accent. And she was always funny throughout the show.
Shout out to Natasha, because Natasha is really the epitome of, I don't give a fuck what's going on right now. I'm here for my own thing. I don't care if y'all don't like me.
She had the best spin of anybody. She goes, it doesn't matter if it's spelled wrong. She's like, you can spell anything the way you want. I'm like, go for you, girl. I'm like, she could, she had a spin on things, which I appreciate. I'm like.
Now that you say that, one of the best clapbacks, she said, was in the top 4 panel, and everyone said Natasha should go home. And when it got to Natasha said, well, I believe she said, if the supermodel Jael was standing behind me, I would say she was the worst too. I said, oh, man, you gotta work. Oh, you can do, that's how you clear, bitch. That's exactly
she
how
did
you
one of those.
somebody.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's classic Natasha. Oh man, that's awesome.
Next on the list is Jaslene, the winner of Cycle 8.
I've actually seen Jaslene a number of times in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
I ran into her at a club and stuff. I run into her at castings and everything. And it's just like always like, how are you doing? Like I consider Top Model this little sort of sorority. Is like we all kind of went through it together and everything. And she's doing amazing as well. Like I'm very glad, especially a Latina won a season of Top Model, and she killed it afterwards. She did a lot of great things. Good for her. Cha-Cha Diva.
The Cha-Cha Diva, honey. Guys, correct me. Is she the only Latina winner? Oh, well, there's Joanna. Joanna is of Mexican descent. Okay, that answers my question. You have a screen you can see. Huh?
Can you see the comments? I can't really see them.
Oh, yeah, no, I can see them. But the question I was going to ask was she the only Latina winner who won? But I think at the time, that's how it was branded. But since then, Joanna has talked about her Mexican heritage. So technically, Joanna would be the first one. But, guys, so the other day that Jaslene was on live, the people were inboxing me because they was like, Jaslene is summoning you, Oliver. She's summoning you. She's summoning you. She wants you to come around with her. No, I was doing I was working on some clients' work. I don't know if I was editing a video or doing something. And usually when I'm doing that, I try to be in my quiet place, behave, get it done. So I couldn't go do that distraction, but I am working very hard, you guys, to get Jaslene into the classroom for you guys. Go over there politely, be like, hey, Jaslene, her comment section. Oliver says he's ready, girl. He's not working no more. He's ready for you, girl. So hopefully that happens. Did you feel like the competition was rigged for Jaslene to win? This is the head nerd in charge here, Oliver Twixt, telling you that I will be performing live in Atlanta on December 17th at the Artisan's Bar. The show begins at 9 p.m. And it won't be me just by myself. I'm bringing some friends along the way. This is my first show in a long time, so believe it's gonna be the Naughty Go life. You hear me? Get your tickets now at www.olivertwixt.com/shows or click the link in my bio on my Instagram. I hope to see you there. Bye.
I hope not. I think Jaslene earned it. I think that she's an incredible model. She is an incredible personality, I do. It's a hard thing because you don't want to say that it's rigged because I think that she earned it and deserved it. But I think that, based on past seasons, I think that, every, what's the right way of saying this? Every person of ethnicity, diversity, and everything else should be represented. And I'm really glad that they had somebody that was Latino finally win the show. And I think that was important. But I wouldn't say, it's hard to say if it's rigged, I feel as if the people that weren't as larger personalities kind of got kicked off earlier. But it's a hard thing to say. We'll never know. And I didn't watch many seasons afterwards. I watched the one and I was like, I know who's getting kicked off based on editing now. But I don't know. It's
even in the case of Jaslene, even if it was rigged, the fact that she was so fierce, she was so likable. She had that nice comeback story that she didn't even make it into the house the previous year, but she came back, fought all the way to the end and won. I'm okay with that riggery. I'm okay with that rigomoris.
And she represented the brand very, very well for that.
She was proud to win.
Yeah, and that's the important thing. So like I don't want to throw anyone at the bus of saying that things are rigged because she deserved to win. She killed it.
Yeah. Next on the list is Jay Alexander.
Oh my God, he's my favorite. I still follow him on Instagram. I love him so much. I remember, and he was probably the most real person I met out of the panel. We were just, I think it was during makeovers, and we were just shooting the shit, if I can swear. But we were just shooting the shit and talking about dive bars in Chicago. And he's like, oh, I've shot with this photographer in Chicago. And he's just so incredibly real. And I love him. I like almost every single one of his posts. I was like,
I'm not sure what he's working on in life, but I need Miss J back on my TV screen one more time. One more time. If I'm ever blessed in the position to be casted on something and it's of his caliber, I'm going to fight. No, y'all need to get Miss J in this room right now. The people need him. He's such a pioneer.
I just want to go grab a beer with him again and talk about all the crazy. Like that's what I would love. I'm like, I hope he's killing it and loving everything. He was the most probably real, genuine person as far as panel that we got to interact with. Love him.
What are your thoughts? I'm sorry. What are your thoughts on I'm not being shady, y'all. I promise you I'm not being shady. Jay Manuel, there we go.
He was nice. He always pushed, you know. He would get in my head a little bit on shoots, which maybe I needed. I overanalyze things anyways, but it always felt like a wall was in between though. There wasn't it was kind of like that wall of TV, we are on a reality television, so you never got to just chat with him like a normal person. But he was nice. He always pushed us.
Thoughts on Twiggy?
Oh, I've loved Twiggy since forever. I had the short blonde hair since I was 17, and like just to see her, like she's been a fashion icon forever. Ever. And just to be in the presence of Twiggy was incredible.
That is one of Twiggy, Jay, Nigel, Tyra. It's such an iconic panel. Like I just love some of the best seasons.
Well, and wasn't Janice Dickinson was always the harsh one. She was always a little harsh on things, but when I watched the show, she was probably more so what happens in the modeling industry. It's a little harsher than that, but they pulled back a little bit on the harshness. But it was great to have Twiggy, and I think she had incredible insights on different photos. She's been doing it forever.
Yeah, I think Twiggy brought great insight, and I think Twiggy also brought a great sense of credibility. Like even if you didn't know her name, even if you didn't know her name and her face together, you know that face. You've heard that name Twiggy somewhere. And she brought like a nice credibility to the panel. Like this is like she was very serious. She was quiet, but she had her funny moments. People listened when she spoke. I was very sad to see her go. Even though I like Paulina Poroskova, I did. But Twiggy was like, don't get rid of Twiglet.
She was the face of the 1960s. That's Twiggy. She was an icon. Yeah, it was awesome.
Anything you want to add about Nigel Barker?
It was fun seeing him shoot. So me being, and I'm still a super nerd on photo stuff, I had a notebook and I would write all their lighting setups in a notebook behind the scenes. I was like, okay, that's the fill, that's the first light, okay, then they're filling the hair light here, and just to watch like these incredible photographers shoot, it was a blast. And especially Nigel. He's an icon too.
Yeah, he is. He is iconic. What kind of camera do you have?
I just got a new one. I have the Canon R6. It's a mirrorless.
Ooh! We're Canon siblings. I have the Canon 5D Mark IV.
I had the 60 forever, and I finally upgraded. But I got the 24 to 70 millimeter second edition L series lens. That is, I've wanted it forever. It was like I happy birthday myself and got it. I think last year. Goes down to a 2.8 aperture, and it's beautiful. I love Canon.
I can't remember what lens I have, but I need to go lens shopping because I need to up my lenses. Lenses are so expensive, guys. Lenses are expensive.
They're as much as the camera.
They're just as much as the camera. The lens I have with the 5 is like $1,000, and I was like, oh my god, I don't never want to drop this.
My new was the one the 24 to 70. I think the new is 2,200, but I end up getting it used off of not a plug, but Adorama. But I will message you all of the things. I'm like, here's the lenses you want.
Yes, and you know what? I probably need to come stalk you about light setups too. When I was doing the TS Masson experience earlier this year, when I was a talent on it, I was taking notes of how the production would set up the green screen room lights. Because that's something I do a lot with my clients, working with them like social media and YouTube. I'm always doing green screens, but I paid attention to how they took like 4 lights and lit the entire room, and it still came out so nice. They taught me about like matching artificial light with the outdoor light. Yeah, like, oh my god, it was such a great experience. So I connected with you. You said you were writing down notes on all the light setups. Light setups, guys.
If you need continuous lights, the Hives are the best. They're expensive, but they're the best. That's the ones.
You said the Hives.
Yes, they're amazing. They're continuous lights, and you can change I'm getting nerdy. You could change the color temperature, so you can match outside, match any color temperature that you're in, and they're killer. I'll send you a link after this.
No, send me the link. I know this is slightly becoming like a content creator consultation, but for all of you guys who don't even want to spend that much money, what I use right now. And like, you know, if I'm just doing something on the fly, I have Neewers. I use the Neewers LED lights. Guys, they are so powerful. They're so powerful. They're easy to manage. And like she said, you can also adjust the light according to if you want to match outside. So you can make it warm, you can make it white, you can do a mix. They're so good and they are so strong. Like I can light myself and light my background with the other two and be perfectly fine.
We actually use those when we do green screens at work. I use the Neewers for the green screen so that it's a flat green screen. And then I use the Hives to light subjects.
Everyone's saying that we need to do a collaboration.
Yes. I love to get nerdy and
yes. Okay.
Don't even get me into rotoscoping because
What'd you say?
Don't even get me started on rotoscoping, but it's a nerdy,
See, you're going to have to teach me some things because all this is new vocabulary to me. What is that, real quickly?
So rotoscoping is basically if you have to cut somebody out of something, it's the new After Effects helps you. It doesn't do it automatically, but the new rotoscoping, it'll cut you out of any sort of scenario. So like if you're doing green screen, you can rotoscope it as well, and it'll help cut everything out.
So like even like an image like this.
Yep. My husband does, he does 3D animation, motion graphics. He's been doing it for 14 years. So we get super nerdy into like, what else can technology do? And yeah, we're a creative tag team.
I was watching a YouTube ad today, and it was they were promoting a music video, and I saw that they were basically like, it looked like they were keying the background of one clip to introduce another clip, but it was so cool how they were doing it. And the only way I know is the long way, which is to go frame by frame and cut it, and I'm not doing that. So there's a thing that they call it, one more time? Rotoscoping.
Rotoscoping, yeah, it's in After Effects.
And see, I'm a Final Cut girl. I've been a Final Cut girl for many years. I want to know After Effects and like all the Adobe editing things. And I was just talking to one of my friends the other day. I was like, girl, we're going to have to go take a class because it seems like Adobe is where it is.
They just had Adobe Max, and there's so much information. And anyone out there, if you're interested in fun, like photography or Illustrator or anything, if you have a Creative Cloud account, by the way, not paid by them, but if you have a Cloud account, you can go and watch all these videos for free and learn about all these programs from the bottom to the top. Like, there's so many free educational things out there. Like, even after college, you should always continue to learn and continue to just find out new information on stuff like rotoscoping or new lighting techniques or any of that.
You know, this whole time, I didn't know you could do that, because I do have a Creative Cloud account. I use Illustrator and Photoshop all the time.
Yep. Adobe Max. It's amazing.
I got myself a homework assignment now. Last but not least, Tyra Banks.
I wish we could interact with her more. That was one of the things. Like, she's an icon. It's Tyra. Like, you know, like, it's Tyra. But yeah, like, I wish we could have gotten more buddy, and maybe they did further down, you know, through the season and stuff. But the only time we really interacted with her was panel and stuff, and then that one little intervention thing that happened. But yeah, that helped. But yeah, like, she's still an icon. She provided this platform that we're all talking about now. She created this show that has become more than any, probably she even realized that it could become. It, you know, so it's that, I don't know, it's like, she's an icon.
She's an icon. She's an icon living. Great. Roll call is done. We're going to smash through these fan questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I saw
All
a
right,
couple
here we
of them.
go.
I was like,
no, you're fine. This is from Sadie May 57. What were her feelings about the quote unquote boot camp audition episode? Was Tyra's stepping entrance as cringe as it seems now?
we were all like, what's happening right now? Because it was like the first part, and I'm like, okay. All right. You know, and I think that's kind of where the show sort of got off kilter, where it just became more and more antics like that. I think the next season she like came in from an alien spaceship, and I was like, what is actually going on? And like, you know, it should be more about like the content of what we're doing, but it's reality television of all things. But yes, I was like, what the is okay. And we're all cheering like, yay.
Shout out to Sitness99 who just commented. I know Mr. J said it was an actual army barrack and all. Do you remember that it was actually like an actual army place? And y'all had to stay there, right?
Yeah, and they didn't let us shower. And short hair looks like a crazy thing if you don't shower the next day.
They didn't let y'all take a bath?
No, like the next day they like get up and I'm like, but makeup and this thing on my head? Because it literally looks like I stuck my finger in a light socket. I was like, and I have to go on TV like that? I'm like, all right, it's happening. But yes, it was an actual barrack. And I still have the, what is it? The top model, what did they call it?
Badge?
No, I don't have the badge. I have the, what is it? The little silver things that they gave us.
Medal of Honor?
Dog tag. There we go.
Dog tag.
I still have the dog tag. It's downstairs. I tried to find it today. I was like, it's not going to happen. But I don't know if I have the badge.
Oh, I'm so sorry. What'd you say?
I said, I'm not sure if I have the badge. I'm sure somewhere.
Because that was the next question. Someone wanted to know, did you still have that top model Medal of Honor badge?
I know, it was Avedon. That was the question. And I was this close to getting a signed Avedon book from an estate sale. And I was like 10 minutes late. He's still one of my biggest influences for photography ever. His work is brilliant. But I don't have the badge. I don't know where the badge is. It's somewhere.
She doesn't have the badge, kid.
I may have the badge.
She may.
I don't really, those things I don't throw out. So we'll see.
Garbage.spice is asking, how was it wearing the 6-inch Chanel shoes?
Oh.
There were so many questions about these Chanel shoes and that Chanel fashion show in Cleveland.
Which is crazy.
That's the record straight, Sarah.
Okay. Yes, I did. Okay, so I did the Chanel fashion shoot, the fashion show, and freaking those shoes, I almost fell in. It was the scariest moment of my life. I'm like, oh my God, this is the biggest. And it was in Cleveland. It was for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It was a fundraiser. And of all things, when we were there, I met the drum tech for Rancid and ended up getting connected with him. He came up to all the girls and was like, do you guys know Rancid? And I'm wearing my blue plaid jacket and my chucks. They're like, she may. And I was like, do you know Rancid? I'm like, of course. And they invited us to the show that night. Couldn't go, but I got backstage at the House of Blues when they came to Chicago.
What's going on, y'all? Hope y'all are enjoying, but we gotta interrupt this right fast for a word from our sponsors.
It was epic. So yes, I did the show. Why would I have any reason to lie about it? It was very, very fun. I got it through Elite Chicago. And it was, I think that was in September, and I think October is when we left to go film.
Mm-hmm.
So
thank you for clearing that up.
But when I brought it up in that casting week, it was me more boasting about things. So I could see why people maybe thought about that. But yes, it really happened. That was a thing. I almost fell on my butt on a runway.
So all y'all out there who have all those questions about it, it really happened. I mean, I always thought it was a very specific lie to come up with. Like, that's very specific. So it had to happen. So thank you so much for clearing the air on that, Sarah.
No problem.
Jiggy Graham is saying, Sarah, if you watched it, can you remember how you felt hearing Mr. and Miss J say you were their favorite at the party during casting week and the only girl in the bunch who looked like a real model at a party?
I didn't know they said that until I think when I watched the show. I had no idea.
Right.
And that was incredibly kind of them. I was like, oh. And that was at, I think it was, is it Marc Jacobs? Not Marc Jacobs. It was a designer thing. I think I still have the purse from that. But it was just a fun party, and they were taking party photos.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that and I was like, that's very nice.
Yes,
I was like, after all the other craziness that happened after that, I was like.
Right. Jeremy _ wants to know, can she tell us more about her friendship with Mckey Sullivan, who won Cycle 11 prior to the show?
So I remembered her, I think it had to have been from Elite, or I believe it was Factor Models then. And, we were probably in runway class together. You basically go to these castings and you're waiting an hour or two. And so especially me, I just chit chat people. And I Chicago's such a small market that a lot of people know everyone. You go to a shoot with somebody or any of that. So, and I think I remember when I saw her on Top Model, I was like, oh, she's from Elite. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I remember about her is she was always really real, like in every way. But it was a long time ago, but she was always just kind of like the real person, the chill one of like, all right, you're kind of my people.
Yeah, shout out to Mckey. Guys, I also chatted.
I gotta hit her up, by the way.
Yes, I chatted with her earlier this year. It was a great chat. It was a really, really, really great chat with her. And she mentioned you, so that's why everyone was down in the comments asking, like, have Sarah talk about her.
Oh, so I didn't watch hers yet, but if she's still in Chicago, if you see this, Mckey, we should hang out.
Yes. Sid Mazar Hassan wants to know, how was it like working with Molly Sue, who's on cycle 6 of Top Model in Elite Model Management? Did that happen?
I don't know. I'm not
Maybe
sure.
not. If it doesn't ring your bell right now.
It's like I can Google, but yeah, it doesn't ring a bell as of now. We did one shootout in New York for Radar magazine. It was me, Brittany, and then a bunch of other girls from Top Models. Maybe it was that time, but that was only a quick
quick second. Fair enough. The next question is Hazel Hart 385 is asking, from your experience as a photographer and other photographers taking photos of you as a model, what's your opinion of the concepts of each photo shoot, and do you use their style in your own photography?
My style is its own weird, like, you know, I go more towards the Avedon portrait stuff, and then like I love harsh grid lighting and like dark shadows when it comes to portrait photography. I think that their stuff is super conceptual because it has to be. They have to come up with a very, you know, kind of abstract, what is the theme of these shoots? I think the lighting is incredible. Like what they have, there's like 7 different lights and keys. We're in a huge, like basically production house in LA with like, they build sweeps that go up. Like so I think that as far as photography is spot on like their lighting, their, you know, all of that, they have it. I do personally feel, and this is only my take on photography, is they Photoshop things too much. Yeah. Like, you know, none of us look as perfect as those photos. You know, gotcha. It's like, I prefer more of the realism aspect of like, I want to see those flaws in certain things. And I think that that's important. People are real. We all have, you know, different things, and you know, we shouldn't necessarily over process images. But I've always given Top Model props in the fact of like, they figure out different themes and they push those themes. Like the candy shoot was killer. I think that like the lighting, everything, it almost reminded me of like, oh my God, what's his name? Oh, it'll come to me. He did all the Rolling Stones covers and very bright colors. He did the Eminem cover, and I'm spacing on the name.
He did Janet's cover.
I think so. Oh my God, it starts with an L. If anyone...
Don't nobody type it.
Oh my God, please type it. Oh God, I can't believe I'm spacing on the name. But
La Chapelle.
Yes. I mean, it's not. Is it? Yes, it is La Chapelle. Hold on. I'm right by my computer.
He did Lizzo's. Is it La Chapelle?
Oh, it's something like that. It starts with an L. Anywho, but like his style, that's what it reminded me of a ton. It's David. No, it's not. That's David Chappelle. Anywho, but his stuff, his work with Rolling Stone is just incredible, and it reminded me of that, like pop art, very saturated colors things. But you know, they continue to evolve and do. You know, they did some killer black and whites within the season. Those are like where I gravitate towards.
Yes. Do you remember any moments where you saw a photo and you was like, "Oh my God, that is very photoshopped"?
A lot of them, like you know. But it just was.
Any of yours?
Well, yeah, a lot of them were like, even the one I think you used for the cover of this, that one. I'm like, you can tell they very much clean up the skin tones and stuff like that. It's just, it was part of the aesthetic within what Top Model was, at least with our season. Gotcha. I do give props to the makeup artist on the Dead shoot because they killed it.
Was that Sutan, guys? Was that Raja?
I think so. Sutan was. He used to wear this brim hat. He was amazing. I loved him. He was always just kind of chill, but he had I think that was Sutan.
Was it Sutan, guys? Was it Sutan who also appeared on RuPaul's Drag Race season 3? Longtime makeup artist on Top Model, went on season 3 of Drag Race and won, and is still over there at World of Wonder spending up all their money. No, that's right, girl. Get that check. His name is Raja. Christian, guys, I don't know.
Sutan had long hair, didn't he?
Sutan probably had long hair.
Okay, then I remember him as well. That was a different guy than the hats, but yes.
A burning question for you, Sarah, from Johnny Vasmar. Somebody who will ask, I'm pretty sure you know what this is if I'm prefacing it this way. How did she feel when she accidentally flashed the high schoolers? This is doing, I think, episode 2, the runway challenge, and your top became undone.
Oh, okay. So I can finally set the record straight. I tried on the dress beforehand, and it was all J-Lo, basically. It was all down there. So I went to production. I went to the sound people, and I'm like, can I steal some gaffer's tape? They're like, we're not allowed to give you any tape. And then I went to another person. I'm like, can I steal some of your tape? And they're like, well, we're not really allowed to give you anything. And then I went to, I think it was behind the scenes. It was one of the other people, and they're like, no, we really can't. And I'm like, well, this thing isn't gonna stay on. And they're like, well, maybe we'll find something. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You're setting me up for this, aren't you? But you remember past seasons, if you fixed yourself, they would put you down on that. It's like, you don't do that in fashion shows. So like, going through my head, I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And so it happened, and I probably should have covered it up. And my grandmother cut out of the TV guide, I was the blunder of the week. And she cut it out of the magazine. She's amazing. And she only did it out of love. But she cut out, she's like, you were the TV blunder guide, like TV guide blunder of the week. And I'm like, oh, my boobs on national television in front of high schoolers. I was like, it happened.
Did you get in trouble on set?
No, it happened. Well, they knew it was probably going to happen, because I asked everyone that had tape, and no one could give it to me. And there was no way to keep the dress closed. So I was kind of a setup in that, but I just went for it. I was like, whatever.
I mean, at the end of the day, guys, it's just the boob.
Exactly. It's like,
we all got them. I love to have mine hang out.
I still throw it out there. I think I did it in my engagement shoot, because I had a dress that I did have to use tape on. And I was like, well, my boobs popped out on national television. You know, what's the worst on like a cab passing by, whatever. At this point, I was like, who cares?
Who cares? But thank you for that story, though. I didn't know. Of course, we wouldn't know that you actually were asking production to get something so you wouldn't have a moment. And they told you, no, we can't help you. I'm so sorry.
I just need some gaffer's tape, guys. Yeah.
Sidness99 is asking, what did you think about your makeover?
I liked it. I'm so glad they didn't give me a weave. Thank God.
Thank God they didn't give you a weave.
I'm so thankful, especially poor Brittany.
Poor Brittany.
I think I saw $24.99. Like, that's how much her weave cost at one point, and I was like, that is, yeah, that's a whole. It looked pretty. Like, I loved her with the big hair, but you can't process someone's hair like that. But I liked it. This is my natural color, thankfully. So I went back blonde when I came back, but I love the red hair. I was like, please keep it short. I needed it. I needed a haircut so bad when I went on that show. It was getting a little unruly with the short hair. I looked at some photos. I'm like, why did you pick that? Oh God. Like, it needed some help.
Everyone's down in the chat laughing at this $24.99 weave.
I was like, yeah. And thankfully they fixed it, but
thankfully they fixed it. Eventually they fixed it.
Yeah, but I love my makeover. I was like, I get some brunette hair for once in my life.
Good. Kimmy Rose asking, did you see a real change in Renee after she apologized? She seemed so genuine.
I think I left right after that, so I wasn't personally involved in it. But you know, it's one of those things of like, all of us are under so much pressure with this show. You're in competition. You're living in this surreality where you don't have access to your cell phone, no news, no anything. You get one phone to call your friends. So, you know, certain people adapt differently, and you know, certain people have defense mechanisms through that. But yeah, like I didn't really experience it. I know she's doing well now. That's great.
That's all that matters, guys. Y'all heard that? She's doing great now. She's doing amazing now. Marquez Reynolds 99 is saying, hi, Sarah. What were your thoughts on 50 Cent pushing Jael in the pool during the challenge with Benny Medina and Natasha followed suit?
Oh, Jael. You know what? I think I was kind of on the sidelines. Like, I'm one of those people, I stay out of the drama unless you direct it towards me. I think it's
Ooh.
better to just kind of let things happen outside of the circle, less stressful. But I saw Jael go in the pool, and they had told us if we ruin our mic, our like the mics that we wore, that we had to pay for them. And that was the first thing I thought. I'm like, oh, the microphone.
Those microphones are expensive.
I know, those lavs are, yeah, don't even. So I didn't firsthand, I watched it later, but you know, Jael doesn't back it down to anyone. She never did. And, you know, especially if he talks bad about somebody else, that she's like, I'm the lion, they're my cubs. I'm here to stand up for everybody. When watching Brittany's interview a little bit before, and she goes, Jael goes, I'm Black and I'm Jewish, so I guess I'm bluish.
I guess I'm bluish.
And I was just like, that's Jael in a nutshell. That was everything she was. She didn't care about your status or who you were. She was 100% herself every time. But good for her. She made it fun. And then she's like, oh, I guess I'm talking to the panel. She didn't care. She cared. She wanted to be there, but she was just like, I am me 100%. And if you like it, cool. If you don't, okay. I think all of us can adopt that more often.
I think after this chat, I want to watch Cycle 8 just to look at Jael. She was so freaking epic. So epic. I am the queen of, what did she say? I am the queen of this. Did she say this photo shoot or the world or something?
Oh my God, yeah.
Something she said. I can't remember.
She had this gravity towards her that we all just we gravitate towards. She just had such an energy.
Jiggy Graham, back again. Do you think the laser beam posing challenge with Benny Ninja was rigged against Renee due to her financial issues at home? Meant to cause extra drama?
I'll let you go.
Well, I wasn't there, but when I saw it, I was like, that's a stretch. I'll ask her, but that seems a little stretchy. Is it like a stretch?
They were all the same. I don't know. It's hard to say anything's rigged. All the lasers were the same and all that. And I think that it was a good, they latched onto that story 100% because that was the storyline. It was one of the arcs that they took within it. But, you know, I'm sure I knew that she could have used it with a lot of the financial situations she was going through. So it's harder when you really want it. And it almost gets in your head too, when you go through that.
Okay, we're almost done. The next question is, some of these you've already answered, so I'm trying not to ask you the same question again because you've done an amazing, amazing job. You talked about the whole situation with Dionne. You talked about Natasha and everyone giving her a hard time in the house. You talked about Diana and Whitney being the 2+ size models and how they were treated. You also talked about the killer photo shoot. No, you did a great job. People want to know, did you keep the name Mo after the show?
Oh, God, no. No. I still went by Sarah Vaughan for photography. And I don't even know why I went Mo. It was just like a second guessing myself because I went by Sarah Vaughan for forever. And it's V-O-N, Sarah V-O-N. And even though I'm married, I'm keeping Founder Horror professionally. But yeah, no, I did not. That's my middle name, by the way, is Maureen. That's why.
That's where you got Mo from.
Yes, it was my middle name. So I was like, well, that's kind of fun. And then I was like, that's not very fun.
Oh my God, this chat is amazing. This chat is freaking amazing. Oh my guys, my mother is calling me, so I gotta stop having fun. My last question I ask everybody is, if you were standing before Tyra Banks right now, what would you say?
Thank you.
Oh, beautiful.
There was so many things that happened within my life from being on the show, and so many like things that came from it. Like I've loved music my entire life, and I've played for my entire life, but I was able to then go out to LA and do my first album and tour for a long time, and name recognition within just even having that with Top Model helped a ton. We still we have a music studio in our basement, and me and my very creative husband are still writing and recording music to this day. And
Mhm.
we'll hopefully release something soon, but we're just working on covers now and writing. He is honestly one of the best songwriters I've ever met. So like a lot of things that have come throughout my life and have happened had, you know, at least Top Model has given me a little bit of help within those. So I would say thank you. That's, you know, thank you for giving me the opportunity and a platform and all of that. And even the opportunity to talk to you today, which we are going to nerd out on photo stuff.
Oh, most definitely, girl. Most definitely. And now that I know that you record music, we're definitely going to nerd out.
Oh my gosh. Yes. We have too many guitars downstairs.
Is there anything you want to add to this chat? Any moments that we did not get to see on the show you wanted the people to see? Anything you want to clear up, add before I let you go?
No, I think that pretty much sums it up. It's, you know, it was an incredible experience. It was a crazy experience. Being kind of in this thing, especially like I'm 35 now, looking back at my 20-year-old self, and I'm like, like just kind of reliving that and that moments and just the friends and all of the people that came out of it. Like I said, Brittany and Corinne and I are still best friends. Like that's, I think that's the incredible thing. And, you know, it's made me, definitely that experience has 100% made me who I am today and in many ways. So that's, yeah.
Oh my God, you did such a great job.
Oh.
Thank you again, Sarah, for agreeing to do this. Thank you so much for sharing your life experiences with us. Excuse me. I enjoyed myself. I know everyone down there enjoyed it. I've been watching the chats periodically, and they are just having a kiki. And I know when it gets put on YouTube, they'll enjoy this as well. Everybody, please send Sarah love, light, energy, positivity as a way of goodbye to her from doing an amazing chat on Top Model Cycle 8. And I'm coming to your DMs, girl, because I got to get some questions answered about some lights, some cameras, some lenses, all these other things.
100%. I can't wait.
Like you.
I can't wait.
Bye.
Bye, and bye, everyone. Thank you.
Come home.